Hey, Rob here. On Saturday, May 14th, we, Corner Späti, are having a live show where we watch Eurovision, Kieran's favorite sport. He's a huge jock for Eurovision and one of the best nights of the year. It is at the Laughing Lizard Playhouse, that is Ziegelstrasse 28 in Berlin at 8 p.m. We will also stream it as usual. If you are in Berlin, come out. There will be some admission, not too expensive, and I promise it'll be a great time. More info at the end of this episode and in the description.
Happy May Day, everyone, because we're recording on Sunday.
Happy Kampftag der Arbeiterklasse.
Exactly, yeah.
German has the best word for it.
It does, yeah. But you know who's a true, Kämpferin of the Arbeiterklasse?
No.
Is Franziska Giffey, who, before we get into the episode, just a little quick fun thing. Berlin's mayor, who's, out and out, probably like the shittiest from the shittiest wing of the SPD.
Yeah.
Notoriously racist, loves the cops, pretty much just like in the
law enforcement.
Yeah, she's in like the right wing of her party. Was very much a driving force against Enteignung, and she spoke this morning at the Berlin May Day parade march, fun time stuff. And
the union one.
Exactly.
The
one.
So like there's always an official one which is like of the big unions. Berlin,
And the parties like the SPD, Die Linke, IG Metall, I think
GEW.
Yeah. They all march, they all do the symbolic leftism that they all are very much a part of. And apparently though
bargaining parade.
What?
The collective bargaining.
Yeah, exactly.
Parade.
Yeah, and so, but the thing I just think is funny is that even to these people, Franziska Giffey is too right wing because she got booed the entire time, and then at the end of it, 2 eggs were thrown at her.
She got smoked out. She got wham.
Yeah,
finished.
But the thing that's the best part of it is that it was the part of the speech where then she goes into this like massive like, before I leave, just like shout out to the police, and they were just not having it and threw eggs.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah,
Damn.
well, that's why
Breakfast.
This is what happens when you just start giving. All countries just start giving eggs to Ukraine. Everyone has eggs.
This is what happened.
You might get hit. It's called blowback.
Yeah, you know what? Do you really want all those Bio-Eier on the streets of Berlin? Hey, it's your weekly Corner Späti. It's myself, Nick, joined with Julia.
Hello.
And Rob.
What's up?
And it's just us without Kieran, and we don't know what this coalition's called. But it is
Feeling kind of traffic lighty over here.
Well, we're here to talk about the wonderful Ampel Germany.
We are here to talk about, the future of the world, which is Germany, or the future of liberalism.
Oh, yeah.
No elections. Elections done. Bullshit. Fertig. We probably need to talk about Slovenia at some time, but that'll be for another episode because you know what? I wanna take in.
Slovenia actually plays a role in this one as well.
Oh well,
enough.
Hey, look at that. Rob and I mentioned this on an episode very briefly, but I may have deleted it because of just the wrong timing of everything. Is that I think everyone kind of knows this at this point, is that Germany is having no longer the discussion, but the all-out legal debate about the increase in weapons production and armament of the German military to 100 billion euros.
Yeah, 100 billion euro special fund to restore the armed forces, I guess.
And so this is coming after, obviously, the sense that then it's been made clear, I think before we get into this, Germany did something that they have never done, which is sending...
Since the reunification
of, obviously, because Germany was sending a hell of a lot of weapons. Yeah. Turkey got some in, 1918.
Yeah.
And, East Germany obviously was sending weapons to Angola and stuff like that.
But unified BRD, Bundesrepublik Deutschland,
would never send weapons to an active war zone.
Not to an active, just to people involved in active.
Yeah, Turkey, Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Egypt as well,
Egypt,
who are
yeah.
active in Yemen. So
Iraq,
yeah.
Wait, Iraq counts as an active war. Wait, this doesn't. That statistic doesn't matter. Yeah, okay.
Well,
fuck it.
this whole thing is confusing to me because I thought the whole deal now was I thought that was the philosophy behind Chef Sachen, which is like don't ask questions. We'll just we'll take care of it.
Yeah, it's like the thing of that when people say that then this is the first war in Europe since World War II, and then it's like you forget about the Balkans or like the Greek Civil War or a bunch of other little stuff here and there.
Or May Day in Berlin.
Yeah,
Every year
kind
is
of
every
war
year is
zone.
Krieg here. But yeah, so Germany took the like you said, Chefsache is the perfect way of describing it. Of that the Scholz regime decided that without any approval that they would just send weapons to Ukraine, and Annalena Baerbock just kind of just like spilled that in a press conference when she was in Latvia, speaking with the foreign minister of Latvia.
Same as Christine Lambrecht, who talked at Rammstein, where all the NATO partners were hanging out because the US wanted to do that. So they had like a lot of people and allied partners and shit like that. And Lambrecht said, "Oh, we want to join. We want to do that as well. We want to send heavy weapons as well." Yeah.
So Germany had already sent weapons, and there's been video footage of them. I believe they're called Matadors, which are a recoilless rifle, otherwise known as just pretty much it's like a version of an anti-tank. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. It's an anti-tank ballistic thing, and they've been picked. But the thing that then gets confusing is that Germany makes this, but then so does Israel. Yeah. And so can't really know exactly which country it comes from unless you were like physically get your hands on it. But there have been video that have been of Ukrainian service members with these weapons, and it's been very clear that Germany has been sending weapons. Germany is the world's 5th largest arms dealer in the world. They normally send to non-active war zones, which means things like Turkey got a shit ton of Leopard.
I find that interesting that they consider that a non-active war zone because Turkey's
in
using
war
it
with Syria
to invade Syria and Iraq.
So to just, speed things up, Germany loves selling weapons. It's just that right now it's a controversial thing because the government then who's in charge, particularly with the Greens, had a very anti-weapons dealing platform that they immediately broke because, war in Europe means something a little bit different apparently to them, which I don't know, I would disagree. But nonetheless, Germany's first step was sending weapons to a war zone that then has gone back and forth. They first started with just sending helmets, and then it ended up with ammunition.
That was a big discussion.
It was, the 5,000 helmets. And then it gets even pettier because then they sent weapons through Switzerland, and Switzerland then blocked the shipment because they didn't want it to be sent through their country.
Yeah, because Switzerland being neutral and shit.
Yeah, so it's been just like a funny kind of back and forth battle between actually physically getting German arms into Ukraine. And the thing that then I think is the funniest statistic about all of this is that there's a bunch of reports of these weapons just being sold before they even get anywhere. A lot of the generals are just selling them, taking the cash, and then sending it to their families out of the country.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of these weapons are ending up in Syria, which is really ridiculous. Or a bunch of apparently a lot of members, a lot of Israeli arms dealers are just on the ground just picking the weapons up before
they're
they
just
even
waiting there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Some real fucking Lord of War shit.
Well, they're putting in the legwork. If you're on the ground,
yeah,
fair play.
So, regardless of your moral stance on if sending weapons to a war zone to create the new Syria is a good idea or not, Germany decided, you know what?
That's it.
Sending Ukraine weapons is one thing, but we have to take the initiative and stocking up, making our military better.
Actually, these two things are related because one of the arguments why they wouldn't send heavy weapons to Ukraine was, among others, that they don't have enough weapons right now in the German military, so they can't send them to Ukraine because then they won't have anything themselves anymore. That was their argument.
Damn.
That was one of the things why they kept stalling the process. And it's interesting because, so I think those two go hand in hand because you have to kind of then if you're agreeing to send weapons, and that was one of your arguments, then you can also push for a special fund for the military, of course, because you can say, see, but then we have to rearm ourselves. You know?
So there was like a really funny thing that Scholz did, because remember, Scholz has been getting a lot of flack from the other parties and from German media of like, you know what, he's not doing anything. He's not. Ukraine's demanding weapons, and Scholz is not doing the right thing by actually giving them. No, but the thing that's just really funny is that Scholz gave them weapons. He just literally sent. He said he's not like. So the first step was not doing it through the German government. He then was just being like, oh, you know, the lovely people at like Rheinmetall, Heckler and Koch.
They offered.
They should, you know what? They should do it. You know, like I give them the green light to send weapons. The absolute funniest thing, though, of all of this, all right, kind of feeding into the sense of that, you know, Putin calling Ukraine a Nazi country, this and that and that. Rheinmetall thought it was a brilliant idea to send them 88 tanks.
Oh my God. A bit on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Much like remember there was a Trump press release that was like 88 words or something. There was definitely someone on the inside of Rheinmetall being like, I know what I'm doing here.
Rheinmetall, the company that then did make the like Tiger tanks and all this. You know, also to have never changed their naming conventions. They have kept their naming conventions always.
They're big kitty cats.
Big cats, which started during the Nazis.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like we have leopards, geparden.
Yeah, the cheetah tank, which
cheetah
is it just makes me think of the cheetah girls. But
I mean, with the increase in military spending, there have to be at least a couple people at Rheinmetall being like, all right, well then, we're doing the whole fascism thing again, right? You know,
Well, it never stopped.
Wenn schon, denn schon.
I gotta keep the tradition alive. I guess.
Germany still uses like the main machine gun for World War II, like a modified version of the MG42. Like they don't care. Like it's kind of funny.
And let's say like Germany, and the interesting thing is, Germany was sending money. And with that money, you can buy weapons. And Germany was also sending rifles, ammunition, etc., which is actually like used. Predominantly used on the ground.
So everyone's saying that then like Scholz is doing nothing, this and that and that. And the thing that was so funny is that then he gave the German arms industry the green light to send whatever they want. Yep. And Germany apparently has been sending humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
They haven't been debating it nearly as much as this question. But the big thing that then now has become an open discussion in Germany, or not even a discussion, but actual policy that's being made, is the increase of the defense budget of Germany for the next year of 100 billion euros.
Yeah, and that is interesting because, as we might all know, Germany had always been in an interesting position throughout history when it comes to World War II, and people and the global community agreeing on that a strong army for Germany might be a bit scary, but this has changed. This has changed because like Germany as being like the power in Europe now, I would say.
And we all love Europe.
I do love Europe.
Therefore,
I want to defend Europe through the only way that I know possible, which is a strong Germany.
Yes.
And this has been a thing that then has been.
Yep.
This has been a thing that's been pushed by other parties of recent, particularly the CDU.
Oh yeah, they always
wanting to meet the 2% that Trump got mad at them about.
Yeah, that's the thing exactly. Like, so this whole discussion about this like special fund. Well, the CDU, of course, is for spending more on the military, but at the same time, they see this like special fund as something that would just like lead to the
more debt. An indebted Germany.
Yeah, Verschuldung of the military. And what they want is not more public spending in that sense. They want to spend the 2% of the GDP. They want that. They want that every year for the military. They want to increase the spending, but as like a constant thing and not as like only for a few years or only for now or only 2022 or something like that.
I think the thing that we need to first be clear about is that then Germany is thinking, so the main debate, of course, of if they should spend, which got past, what was it, 500 to
No, that's a weapon delivery. They didn't decide on the special fund yet.
Okay.
They're still debating that. That is because of the way that it's formulated. The CDU not being on board when it comes to it being a special fund. They want it like as like a 2% GDP spending. And also the problem with this one is it requires a change of the constitution.
Exactly. So, for those who do not know, Germany has it written into its constitution, a country that is deathly afraid of debt, also made it a legal fear.
Also deadly afraid of death. Am I
Deathly
right?
afraid of death, yeah. And Germany is not allowed to go past 60% to GDP ratio of their debt to debt to GDP ratio spending cannot go above that. It is constitutionally bound.
It's because Germany is very scared of inflation and having to pay money, etc., etc. Probably some people argue due to the war debt that they had. That is why they wrote it into the constitution. That is also why they made it like an obligation for everyone who wants to join the EU. That they have to have like a certain, they are not allowed to be in certain kind of debts.
Well, that clearly worked out, and no country in Europe clearly has crippling debt.
Was definitely that was.
Well, you're all having fun at the party, dancing. Someone has to be the bouncer.
Yeah,
they have to watch. They gotta make sure the ratio is okay.
Exactly.
Someone's got to do it.
So if you want to spend more in the military, you of course have to spend more in general. So that would change. Require a change of the constitution, as I said.
Yeah, and what the CDU specifically wants, they do not want two things. They do not want this. The Schuldenbremse to be broken because it is all but holy,
and it will also break the spell of the CDU, and they will all melt.
Yes, exactly. This is actually just the Wizard of Oz. Yes,
if the sacrifices are not kept going.
Well, the Schwarzenegger is something that's different than that Germany will always have a balanced budget, which is something that then literally even CDU economists are like.
I'm just saying it's a party of the Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So the Schwarzenegger is the thing that then is that Germany will always have a balanced budget that was made popular by the CDU and is literally a death cult of why this country cannot spend, aside on top of the fact that this country won't spend for a constitutional reason. But so the CDU weirdly, so Friedrich Merz has been, swinging his dick in the fucking
playing the tough opposition.
Yes, by continuously saying, I fucking love the Bundeswehr, I'm about you guys, but we have to get that money from a different place. Yeah. We cannot indebt Germany, which, whatever. Okay, that's fucking possible.
Which is very interesting because since the FDP, our lovely finance dudes, are part of the coalition, of the traffic light coalition, they have had interesting stance lately because they, of course, have to work with the coalition. Mm-hmm. Christian Lindner held this whole speech being okay, now we totally should do this because, to quote Lindner, you have to be able to fight in order not to have to fight.
I was waiting for the quote to be "My money, big body, my money, Tonka."
It's basically saying the same.
Well, the FDP, what they're, maybe you got it twisted because everyone thinks they're the finance bros, but really they're the freedom bros.
Exactly.
And actually, freedom is increasing the military spending.
100%.
That is actually something that they said as an argument. It's interesting because they said if we want to keep these freedom values alive, we have to spend money on the military.
More Leopard tanks.
Yes,
to
fight for freedom.
My money real free.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, they have been keeping this so what they're saying in general, and it's very interesting. It's all of them kept arguing, especially our foreign minister Annalena Baerbock. Kept arguing, okay, this is about a value-based, foreign policy, a value-based military policy, etc. So this is about helping the free world. This is about protecting free Europe, etc., etc.
Ooh, free Europe in place of free worlds. That's I like that. we can juice another 10 years out of that after that.
So
keep this gravy train rolling.
That's before we go any further, I think we need to really specify that this is all being kicked off weirdly enough by a party that up until very recently was quite anti-war
The
in
Greens.
any regard.
Yes.
The Greens, as Rob properly has pointed out, probably more than anyone on this show, that the Greens are the perfect vessel of this type of neo-Atlanticism.
Oh yeah.
You know, for not just like a foreign policy, but also domestic policy, where they're like very much just like turning into like the U.S. Democrats. It seems like, but Baerbock and Habeck have been going on the nose of Germany's dependency on Russian gas and oil, which is like, it's like not, it's like a moot point. Everyone in Germany knew that. Then it's like, while Merkel, I would argue, had a smart. Even still today, I defend the sense of having a smart diplomatic relationship with Russia. It was also incredibly stupid for her and the SPD before her
not to diversify
sources. The country's energy sources.
Definitely, like just relying on one supplier and that supplier being
or
Russia.
Coal.
Yeah, and coal.
Yeah.
Of course. But since we want to go away from coal, like since the whole climate thing is still a thing.
Yeah.
But it's very fascinating that this former hippie party that used to like chain themselves onto like train tracks when it comes to like Castor. Do you also say Castor transports? Castor transport. It's like nuclear waste transport, basically. So these guys, that used to chain themselves to train tracks and be all against nuclear war and nuclear energy, etc., etc.
They have given in to St. Javelin.
Yes. And now they're kind of like horny for NATO, very horny for NATO. It's very interesting. I think Baerbock wants to see herself among like all the cute transatlanticists.
She wants to, Annalena Baerbock saw, how many bodies that, what's his name? Henry Kissinger can fit into his big puffy jackets. And she's like, I gotta get me one of those.
But, since we're talking about the military spending, it's also interesting to see that Germany has increased their military budget before.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like from, 25, was a billion or million? A billion, of course, billion. To like 52 billion, which was rightfully like pointed out by Die Linke, actually by Jacqueline Nastich. What she said, and I think she made a great point, is like the problem is not the spending, the problem is the mismanagement of what to do with the money of the military, because people people tend to forget, because Ursula is now our head of Europe, of the European Commission, but she used to be the defense minister, and she used to hang out like, what was it, McKinsey and what are the other consulting idiots?
BCG.
Yeah, all of them. KPMG, I don't know, all of them. I don't know who actually was involved in like consulting Ursula, but there was a lot of shit going on. That was definitely mismanagement.
They produced weapons, like that. They bought weapons that didn't work.
It was a whole fucking scandal, but people tend to forget, as I said, because Ursula has been so great in hanging out with world leaders and holding like fiery speeches on.
No, that's
the
the funny.
EU.
That's the funniest thing about Ursula von der Leyen right now, is that her career is just getting like a massive, like. Everyone is like loving her.
People love her now.
Yeah, because they don't have half a brain and don't realize that, one, she literally has sucked at every job that she's done. And
not at the commission job, apparently, because she's
still doing a horrible job there. Because
I'm just saying, not in the sense of what people, what people like. She's like perfect for the EU.
Yeah, she also has literally no power. So she does these fiery speeches like, we're going to sanction Russia, and then it's like, a lot of the countries will come back and be like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're like, Germany even being one of them.
Poland. They're going to say, Poland, you can't do that. And then, like, Poland still does it.
Be like, we're going to still do that.
Yeah,
Hungary, Hungary, literally, they had a discussion the other day if they should withhold Hungary's funds again for their LGBTQ laws. And they're like, no, you can't do that. Like, Ursula von der Leyen can say whatever the hell she wants. Like, we're going to stop gas shipments from Russia. And then Russia literally came back and be like, that's cute, buy it in rubles. And every European country is like, okay, we're buying it in rubles. She's like, you can't do that. And they're like, no, we don't want each country to have an individual political crisis.
Germany started sending the money to a Russian account. So like they are paying in rubles right now. It's interesting how everyone was very mad about it in the beginning. about like the decree that Putin signed, which of course contradicts or is like breaking the contract that he had with the countries, because nobody, like it said, like you pay that in euros and in dollars, but it's wartime, so you do whatever.
Yeah, again,
and he has the
Putin
leverage. He has the
like,
leverage.
my money, big body, my money, big tonka.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, back to the.
Yeah, back to Germany being, unfortunately a little bit too German right now.
Yeah.
And well, the thing also too with the weapon spending thing of the past is that Germany, I mean, for those who don't live here, I would say probably the past 5-6 years or so, there's been a massive push of trying to get the number of people in the Bundeswehr up, because the Bundeswehr is notoriously understaffed for how big of a military Germany.
That's not the only deficit.
Yeah, but for how big of a country Germany has, that they continuously want to meet these goals of, like the 2% goal wasn't just a thing that was talked about of recent months. It was something the CDU had been wanting to meet.
They wanted to do that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and there was this push of that. However, as first you mentioned that they can't spend very well because it is a neoliberal, it's a hyper neoliberal party that then does everything through consulting firms, and they didn't have like the Bundeswehr is very much understaffed. So you have these hilarious like influencer YouTuber campaigns to try to recruit people into the Bundeswehr, and they're not working very well, if I'm not mistaken.
Why is that?
Oh, because they're corny as shit. Like I don't know. There's like one that's called like the Recruits, and then like another one.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a mini series.
Yeah, Germany can't do the thing like what the U.S. does of like, hey, here's a badass film of like SEAL Team 6 just doing what has to be done. Because what are you gonna do? Like a video, like a movie of like them doing paperwork in Iraq.
Yes.
Like Germany specifically sent more troops to Iraq, or the last time they sent troops to Iraq was to only just do paperwork.
I mean,
they don't send like.
Fair. I mean, that has been like one of the paradigms of like German military has been not to get involved in active fighting.
Yeah.
Only train, etc., etc. All has to do, of course, with the history of Germany. So, like, yeah, you are training troops. You are, I don't know, doing administrative stuff, consulting, etc., etc.
What are the fatigues for McKinsey look like?
I mean, that's why it's such a paradigm shift, because. I mean, Olaf Scholz himself spoke about like a Zeitenwende. It sounds cool in German, so I'm saying it in German, like a paradigm shift, basically. Like with increasing the spending, not only when it comes to like spending more and like not giving a fuck about the Schuldenbremse, but also when it comes to the military itself, you know, like Germany having a strong military is still like seen as something very...
Not good.
Problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so, because, yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of stepping back then from the military spending thing, we briefly mentioned that then Germany overwhelmingly supported sending weapons to Ukraine.
Yes.
So, what were the numbers on that? Which I think before we talk about the military, you're talking about this paradigm shift.
Yeah.
A country that then used to have like a knee-jerk reaction to any involvement of war. I mean, remember, like the biggest anti-war demonstration during the Iraq War was in Berlin. Mm-hmm. One of them was in Berlin. It was like, I think like 500,000 people or something like that. Yeah. And also one of the biggest anti-war protests that then started during the Ukraine conflict. Yeah. It may have not been entirely an anti-war protest, but still the fact that then the general attitudes towards war and towards Germany getting involved in a war, and I would argue that this is very much Germany getting involved in a war because you are sending weapons shipments. You cannot be neutral in that regard. It is probably one of the reasons why the United States got involved in World War I, because they were sending weapons under the guise of neutrality. Yeah. Germany's not neutral. They're a member of NATO, and they're sending weapons. Yeah. And now it's quite popular.
Yeah, you're getting involved, actually. Sending weapons, huh? Okay, this vote, it was passed. Actually, it kind of had to because they already announced it, which is interesting because Olaf Scholz. Well, first of all, let's say how the voting turned out. So it was 693 votes were casted, 586 in favor, 100 against, and 7 abstained. Olaf Scholz wasn't there. He was in Japan.
Damn.
That's kind of a flex.
Yeah.
To announce it before it's voted on, not even be there.
Yeah. Right.
And
it's kind of cool.
What is that, 80%?
Yep. Yeah, it's overwhelmingly.
Fucking Babe Ruth calling a shot.
It's an overwhelming majority. It's crazy. Actually, like all of the Greens except for 2 didn't vote for it. And that was Bayram. Shout out.
Okay, Queen.
Yeah,
I was about
Queen.
to say, like, it better be Neukölln, Kreuzberg.
Yeah, definitely.
Kreuzberg, Friedrichshain.
Yeah, Bayram, great.
Did she vote against it or did she abstain?
I think she abstained because of
fine,
party
whatever.
line thing.
Oh, but it's still
Well,
fine.
maybe she voted against. I'm not sure,
Doesn't
actually.
matter.
But she did not vote in favor. Let's say it like that.
Yeah.
She did not vote in favor. And, of course, Die Linke. But they don't have too many seats right
Yeah.
now in the Bundestag.
It's like, what, 49, I think, or something
Yes.
like that?
And AfD, actually. But they have a different reason.
So why did the AfD not vote? Because we are, as you know, as our now fallen leader,
good leftist.
as our now fallen leader of Slovenia, tweeted out our picture of the horseshoe theory that he decided existed.
Yes.
When we were talking about a complete other thing, but he obviously wasn't there. Shout out Jansha if you want to come by to your Eurovision thing.
We can talk about
We'll
it.
talk about it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
damn. So you can come on.
He's a sovereign citizen. Sovereign citizen Jansha. Yeah,
but the AfD. So they didn't vote because they voted against it because they are following, of course, their own what they said is like, oh, we can't do value-based foreign policy. We have to do interest-based foreign policy. And Germany's interest is to have good relations with Russia because they like Putin.
I mean, but also like, regardless if they like Putin or not, that's just like true geographically.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, especially now that Russia's military may not be as like good as everyone expected. Yeah. They're a massive nuclear power. That
is actually what was brought against this by Die Linke as well, and let's rather talk about Die Linke argument because of course when Gauland speaks about it, this was a bit different.
For those who don't know, for those who don't know, Alexander Gauland is one of the head people within the AfD who always wears a tie of a dog.
Yes.
A dog. It's actually a cute tie. He just sucks.
Yeah.
But he gives off the funniest vibe in German because he speaks very long, complex sentences that say nothing.
Yeah.
And I think he's also a history professor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's just the typical German.
Just in the tradition of right-wing history professors in Germany. We love that. We're into
Dr.
that
Alexander Gauland. How could I forget?
How could you mistitle him?
Yeah. The AfD, they party, as we mentioned too, the party with the most PhDs in it.
But we could also say, not forget what their voter base, a lot of their voter base is.
Dudes with PhDs.
They're dudes with PhDs, but also they have a big following by the Russian-speaking German community.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, just saying. That might be interest as
Who
well.
Who all also have PhDs.
Yeah. You do know much more about this than I do, and it's sounds like a very sophisticated analysis, but my gut feeling is that they're driven by clout, off their clout sharks, and they think they can get some clout from Putin.
I think that,
that's not wrong, I
this is the thing that's really funny about that is that, I think the AFD is just flexing hard to be look at me, senpai. Am I doing...
Sure.
Because the AFD...
We're doing a great job, senpai Putin.
Yeah, because the AFD legitimately did have connections to the Kremlin, and... I wouldn't be surprised. And it's one of these weird occurrences that then because of their weird Russophilia that they end up coming out on the better side, at least in my opinion, the better side of the argument, because the thing that then's really funny about pure liberalism is that then a pure liberal would also agree that then that the best way forward is diplomacy with your neighbor.
Yeah.
And as we may or may not have mentioned on the show before, again, this is, 1,000 years ago before the war, of that then NATO's push into Russia, or towards Russia, not into Russia, but like, NATO's eastward push kind of always doubted then this liberal version of the end of history, that if the end of history is so good, these institutions wouldn't have had to exist, and that good liberal, fucking like the golden arches theory or the Dell theory would have just like came true because of capitalism. Yeah. But you don't actually believe in your own bullshit, so you're going to continuously expand eastward, where the AFD like weirdly still believes in the true like liberal bullshit of that. Then it's like, oh no, like economics, like they're weirdly still materialist, so that then like economics is key to everything, but they're also like hyper free market capitalists that are like, well, we need to have good relations with Russia because peace through the economy is how you do it, and we want to then also have a weird national economy that helps Germans.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
like,
their argument. Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's where they're coming from. Yeah, and Die Linke, of course, have a better argument.
War's bad.
Yeah, exactly. That sums it up. I mean, but yeah, I agree. War is bad. And someone brought something up. I forgot his name, but it was kind of like an interjection in the whole debate. And he said, like, well, what do you think? Do you believe when we make this decision, like, are we closer or further away to nuclear war? And that was a legitimate question.
Yeah, and?
Well, the answer is we're closer, but of course nobody answered that question because it was someone from Die Linke asking it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that then also too...
It was like, there was also this moment where someone said, like, I know that's more about the military spending, but saying like, we just basically dump this money into a hole that is the German military,
Yeah.
When we rather should fucking spend the money on education, school meals, infrastructure, etc., etc. But that's more about the money. But yeah, the weapons argument,
Well, yeah, I think that then just kind of to
which
close...
benefits, of course, where they say which benefits the arms industry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that then just to kind of like, put the nail in the coffin on this one is that then I feel that it, like, I feel legitimately crazy during this entire scenario because we've seen plenty of times in our lifetime what happens where you just throw an infinite amount of arms at a conflict, hoping that then
conflict.
Yeah, and the thing that I just find that's incredibly just stupid from the perspective of then, like, I understand, obviously, of course, I'm not stupid. Ukraine has the right to defend itself,
yes, definitely.
of course. Like, I'm not a dumb. I don't agree with European countries giving them arms.
I also don't agree with the people that say they should surrender or some shit like that.
No,
like
I mean, like this. Like the thing of the matter is, though, is that then, like, first and foremost, you have a legit baby brain if you think that Ukraine is going to win this war. Like, sorry. Like, there is literally no strategic outcome that then has them getting back all the territory that they've lost. And Russia has already dug in and made their point in all of these areas on the Donetsk and whatnot. Yes, like to the people who are saying, well, they didn't get Kyiv, this and that, you're probably right. The Russian military probably bit off too much that they could chew. Yeah. But there's literally no way in hell that this is going to be pushed back by the Ukrainian military and a bunch of like Reddit volunteers who are getting just like bombed by like, Su-35s left and right.
Yeah.
Like, I think that entire we talked about it briefly on one of the episodes that there was the Reddit base that was just completely annihilated because they kept posting photos on Reddit of their positions, and the Russian military found it and just kept attacking them. Yes. So there is, like, I understand the perspective then, like, Ukraine obviously to defend itself. The real reality of it is that then this is going to, if like the continuous pouring in of weapons into this country is going to end up with this war lasting either in a serious situation, which is that then like Ukraine eventually then has some level of pushing back, but then internal strifes within the country boil over because remember, Zelensky was hated up until the war started by a lot of factions, particularly right-wing factions who are getting a lot of power currently right now. Kidnapping left-wing activists and stuff like that, possibly executing them. There's been reports of that as well. Not good stuff, and a lot of these splits within the military and stuff like that will just become more intensified. There's also anarchists who've taken up arms, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
so it'll be Syria. Or you have like a Palestine-Israel thing where then you'd have flare-ups between Russia and Ukraine every year, which is kind of ish what it's been like for the last 8 years.
I mean, since 2014 they have
So the idea
fighting.
that then if you just like throw a Band-Aid, as in billions of dollars of weapon spending, at a country that militarily cannot win and that is in a pressure cooker situation of something politically occurring, like currently happening, you are fueling this war into its infinite continuation. And where are those weapons going to, we've already seen that the weapons aren't even ending up in Ukraine half the time. They're ending up in the Middle East and this and that because weapons dealers are smarter than the average person is. So, I don't believe the argument that this is like a way to peace. And I think that then, unfortunately, the smallest party in Germany is the only one that then seems to understand that.
Die Linke?
Yeah.
Well, they have been I mean, I could not imagine Die Linke. Actually, we have one person in Die Linke that is for the delivery of. Well, she didn't vote like that, but she was arguing for it. But yeah.
So you mentioned Slovenia is going buck wild.
Slovenia, yeah. Okay, this is something we have to say about the nature of Germany's weapons delivery, because it's not what we imagine in the US, where you just send the weapons to the country. Germany is not actually doing that. It's called a Ringtausch. Very romantic. Exchange of rings, like when you marry someone.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Germany wants to go steady with 2% of GDP spending.
Yes.
I'm committed to you.
So
Not just a fling.
Taking out Jens Stoltenberg for a milkshake.
But yeah, a Ringtausch means that Germany is going to, it's called a Ringtausch because it's going in circles. Kind of, not really, but I don't know, Well, it's a cute romantic kind of idiom term for it. It means that Germany is supplying new tanks to an Eastern European country, who then, not
rid of
Ukraine,
their old ones.
who then will send their old Soviet weapons to Ukraine. And one of these countries that really is horny for German weapons is Slovenia.
That's sick.
Because they totally need a big military.
Yeah, I want to get rid of my T-62s that suck.
Yeah, that and the T-70.
T-72, yes.
Yeah, all of them. So, see,
yes, Yulia's been learning about tanks this week.
Yeah, I know tanks now.
Yeah.
That's a job for Jansha. He could do those, who's the woman in the puppy commercials? In the arms of the angel?
Yeah. I know.
He's just could you please
Sarah
give us your
McLachlan.
weapons?
Yeah, that's a good, that's something he could
These
do
old
now.
T-62 tanks don't have a home.
No, but yeah, that's how Germany is doing it. I think it's kind of to say, hey, see, we're not supplying the weapons to Ukraine.
Giving it to Slovenia.
We're giving it to Slovenia, and they therefore are giving it to Ukraine.
I mean, I don't know if I would want Leopard tank. I've seen those things just completely just get their top blown off by a standard RPG.
Well, that is why you increase the military budget.
Okay, but does that take that flaw out of them? I mean, it also could just be
actually,
that then
a lot
it was
of that will be spent on personal equipment and not heavy equipment. So dudes don't have fucking jackets and shit like that.
a pussy.
Or boots
so
or some
you're gonna
shit.
get fucking Google Boss.
I swear, it's kind of it's in high school or some shit like that. Imagine you're in a NATO kind of
you're in NATO high school.
NATO
I sat with NATO at the lunch table.
Yeah, imagine you're on a NATO trip, with your friends, with your NATO partners.
Oh, the
allies.
Americans come with all the fucking cool swag, and you're getting fucked up.
And you don't even fucking have shoes.
You're just some fucking dipshit from Slovenia.
You're the kid that doesn't have shoes.
You're pulling up in
I'm talking Germany here.
Oh.
Those are the guys without the shoes.
Damn, and they just like make funny being like, oh, look at the fucking little kraut over here. Oh,
they only have one
Augustus
pair of
Gloop looking
boots.
motherfucker.
Yeah, and that is how the German military has been feeling in those like NATO deployments.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They just come in there with their fucking like,
Yeah.
like with their like their trainers, and then the American military just
Imagine
has
you have, like,
they got
500
dunks on.
Imagine you have 500 helicopters and 20 of them work.
This could be the next Pixar
US, you mean
movie.
the U.S., right? Because Ospreys keep killing Marines left and right.
Yeah. So Slovenia wants German weapons. Slovenia has been pretty horny lately.
Who gets Slovenians' weapons?
Ukraine.
Ah,
That's
there's not
the
another
ring
step. There's not another.
No.
I thought maybe there's one more.
I thought because it's a ring, there should be like a
Yeah, I know,
final
right?
step that Ukraine gives, like, I don't know, gives them back to Germany.
Yeah, you get all these like junky ass old like MiG 20. Actually, MiG 29s are still sick, but yeah, you get a bunch of like a bunch of T-62s because no one wants those.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is how it's either that way or with money, of course, because it's like this compensation kind of like scheme. Like, so Slovenia, for example, gives weapons to Ukraine, and Germany pays Slovenia for being so nice and sending all the
Oh my god!
all the weapons.
Just fucking do it yourself, Germany. What a
but
bunch of
Germany
babies!
said they don't have anything.
That's the biggest fucking lie.
That's why they need
You
to
have-
spend more money. This is all like it's all connected.
Yeah, I mean, Germany, first off, hilariously, is still one of the few countries that then still loves producing tanks a lot
Yeah.
and still makes new tanks.
Nerds.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking, and Russia's one of them
Well,
too.
Also nerds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Russia's tanks are fucking crazy. They do like underwater shit. Or
No,
something.
no. The
What was
Armada
that?
they discontinued.
Oh,
That's
damn,
the
it looked
T105.
so cool in
no.
that video.
Yeah. No, so that
I fell for the Russian propaganda.
yeah. No, so the Russian, I think it's the T105 Armada, the T15 Armada.
Yeah.
Russia made 4 of them, and the only real reason that they made it is so that then on the 70th anniversary of the victory of World War II,
Oh, yeah, that's
they
coming
could
up.
have it on a parade.
Okay.
They had one of them, and then all the 3 other ones ended up never going into production, and it was entirely a prototype
Oh, shit.
that was too expensive for Russia to go through with. Now,
Well, because it was fucking cool.
fast forward, Russia really needs a new tank
Oh, fuck.
because they're relying too heavily on the T-72, which is a heaping
Which
pile
sucks,
of
I
garbage.
heard. Yeah.
The T-62 is even worse.
Oh, damn.
But
It's a
Russia
lower
had
number.
yeah.
That's why.
Yeah,
Okay, got
10 whole numbers worse. Yeah, but no, it's really funny because a lot of like military like what is it called? The people who theorize on military tactics and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Yeah, literally, yeah, nerds. We're wondering continuously of like, well, why are these countries still investing in tanks?
Yeah.
Because no one has to fucking there's no tank warfare, and then now this war has kind of proven
Yeah,
it
a
wrong.
lot
Of
of
like,
tank
oh
warfare
damn,
right now.
tanks are still like really important, maybe.
Yeah.
I have
But, yep.
I have a couple clarifying questions. So, Germany has sent
Yes.
stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and how have they paid for that? With the special fund, or is it just
No,
on
they
loan
had it.
Gift.
and
It's
now
just
they
like
have
a-
That's
to?
what they had.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can
It's- They
Okay.
send military equipment that they already had,
Okay.
and so they just send it like for
So
free.
now,
So
the
they haven't
question
sent
is
any, like-
special fund, constitutional change,
Yeah.
or have nothing. Show up to the lunch table with
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You smell like ass.
Yeah.
You have
NATO lunch table.
Yeah, you have your fucking weird, not cool, not swagged out camouflage like the Americans.
Yeah.
That's also what
They have
happens.
that like bluish for camouflage, don't they?
I don't know. No, they don't. It's regular color. It's just like all.
Oh,
like-
I think
it's
that's
like
maybe
digital
just a shirt
looking.
I saw on
Yeah. No.
pink camouflage. How about
So this is
that?
what happens when you spend nearly $1 trillion in military spending. Is
Yeah,
that
you
you
get the
spend it on
cool-
the dumbest shit.
You get the
Yeah.
question.
No, you spend it on, for example, like the F-35, a jet
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Nice.
I mean, it flies, but the other stuff it doesn't do very well. Like it can burn up in the atmosphere, and
Oopsie.
yeah, and then you die. Its ejection seat will decapitate you.
Oh damn.
Yeah, that's why the
Wanna be a
U.S. tries to
pilot,
sell it
yeah.
everywhere, and nobody wants it. Except for now, I think Greece is
Well,
buying a bunch of them just to own Turkey, and then now the U.S. is mad at Turkey because they bought a bunch of S-400 Russian anti-aircraft things.
Yeah, Germany is sending self-propelled anti-aircraft guns, whatever that is.
It's the cheetah. Gepard.
Okay, the Gepard.
Yeah. So
that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's like a mobile Patriot missile system.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I don't know why.
Not damn.
No, it's lame.
Oh.
It's all nerd shit.
Has a cool name though, Gepard.
Yeah, cheetah.
So what's the timeline of this vote? What's going to happen?
Oh, that vote already happened.
vote-
What's going to happen? Do we have a new constitution?
Well, no. That vote didn't go through.
Yeah.
Only the heavy weapons delivery went through. So they agreed on doing the Ringtausch, like changing laws and
Giving Slovenia the.
among others. Yes, whoever wants German weapons can get in there.
I don't know if I'd want German weapons. If I was, if I was looking around, if I was shopping around, I would be looking at the
US.
the Turkish Bayraktar, whatever the fuck it's
damn.
called. You know that there's a district in Ukraine that wants to rename itself that
Seriously.
to the Bayraktar.
Oh wow.
Yes, because it's been such a vital tool for Ukraine
Okay.
in the fight against Russia. Yes, it's also the thing that then kicked off all of this. But yeah,
Interesting.
because Turkey was giving them these
the drone
drones.
thing,
Yes.
Yeah. So the debate will go on about this because this is it has a lot of like different points to it. It has that the CDU they need the CDU vote on that.
Yeah, and
as
Merz has
and
come
Merz is-
forward and being like, I want to help the Bundeswehr, but I can't do it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, going against my values. And I think
because that's and Merz and the CDU they're very like against.
and I think this is very much trying to play into the fact that then, like, while it's early, our good Emperor Scholz has only been in power for a few months now.
Yeah.
I think that the CDU is going to be using this experience with the current war situation to then immediately just use that as a campaign strategy.
Yeah, I mean, Merz has been very, especially in this debate. And the other one, Merz has been very angriffslustig, very ready to fight. Round one. Sorry. More to comment. But yeah, he has, for example, called out Scholz saying that his change in mind is very grotesque because what we didn't mention yet is that Scholz in the Spiegel interview said before he will not send heavy weapons to Ukraine because it might cause, nuclear war and stuff like that. And he won't get bullied into it. In the end, he got bullied into it.
Well, he got carried away in the Spiegel interview. He wanted to impress them.
Yeah.
Just saying shit. He thought they'd
come on,
like
it's a
to
cover
hear.
story.
Yeah.
Get me from this side, please. But yeah, actually, it kind of, I think a lot of it came also from, interestingly enough, his coalition partners who wanted to send weapons, especially, I think, the Greens, like Lena and Habeck.
Yeah.
But I think Lindner is also for that, so because he wants to protect the freedom values. But yeah, so he basically got bullied into it, which is interesting because before he took the stance, but also the international community was very, everyone was criticizing
Everyone
Germany
wrote
for
an
not,
article about
everyone.
Germany being wrong again.
Yeah, Germany being on the
Olaf
wrong
Scholz's
side of
kryptonite.
history.
Yeah. After the
He reads.
fact,
He reads it. He speaks English, so he reads all of them.
he's like, oh, nine. Yeah.
It gets progressively higher, higher and higher pitched. Every click.
Yeah, I imagine that is how it happened.
Yeah.
We have any drone updates? Any drones involved in this? Is there any drone talk?
Drone talk. The fucking Ulrike Franke. We're plugging Ulrike Franke's new mixtape, Drone Talk.
I just think Ukraine needs drones. That could fix everything.
Oh, they got them,
They got them.
and that is partially why we're here.
Well, Nestor McNo used this drone, so it's really inspiring.
Yeah. So we are, and the thing that I just think is kind of the funniest. Well, it's not funny at all because it's very dangerous. Is that the madman himself said that the more weapons that you send to Ukraine, the more I'm going to get mad, and the more that you're involved in this.
Yeah, this is something. Yeah, this is something like that the first like weapon sending already like escalated the situation, because he said he sees every kind of like weapon supply from NATO countries as an escalation of the war.
Yeah, and now an American soldier died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
technically a former U.S. soldier, but still the fact.
So
of
was
that
he like? Was that like some what's it called? A mercenary kind of like? Do they have private military?
Who?
things?
Ukraine?
No, the U.S. on site, like contractors.
No.
Kirby said no, not that he would know. Kirby.
Well, that doesn't fucking mean anything.
I know exactly, but yeah, because
No,
that is
I
what
think
people
that
are asking right
this is
now.
the thing,
Yeah.
though, is that so with the international volunteers thing, it was an international volunteer who was a former Marine or whatever.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So, no, the U.S. is dumb, but they're not stupid enough to send
they
in
won't do that,
mercenaries
yeah.
because that's way too easy to track back. The thing is that the British are getting way too horny for this, and like the
yeah,
SAS is being sent in to do training. But if a SAS member happens to get hit by, say, an airstrike, and there's a dead SAS member, that looks very bad. And I think that the more that I refuse to believe that there is not active NATO members on the ground, at least of some form, whether it be of like delivering things or whether it be plain stupidity and actually offering assistance, whether it be consulting, tactical, or like military aid.
That the US is going to train, like they will continue their training. The Florida Guards, whatever they're called, that used to be in Ukraine will now train Ukrainians in Germany at Ramstein base.
Yeah. So that's like that's fine. That's allowed. The thing though that then becomes very questionable is what the UK is trying to do with the SAS, which is like sending the SAS into Ukraine to then do training, which is fucking stupid.
Well, it's a Europe Sache.
Yeah,
And
it's no longer Chef Sache.
Yeah. And yeah, the UK is shown whether it's the Polish border or Ukraine. They're like,
yo, this was the thing.
They're there when it matters.
Yeah, remember at the beginning too is that then like Poland wanted to send MiG-29s with Polish pilots, which would then mean that Poland is involved in this, and it was supposed to be classified. It was not classified, and then the rest of NATO was like, "You were dumb as shit. Do not fucking do that." Even though at first they were like, "Yes, please do this." So I think that then there's like the thing I'm very afraid of is when there's going to be a slip up by a country as stupid. I do think the dumbest one in all this is the UK.
I thought you were going to say Poland.
No.
I'm picturing like a Polish master lawyer who's like, it's a floor is lava type situation. You're not in Ukraine. You're just above Ukraine.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
While Germany's not going to send a single serviceman to Ukraine. Obviously, they'll send consultants maybe like near the border. They'll send weapons. They'll do that whole song and dance. But they're not like Boris Johnson is having like these op-eds written about him. Like, is Boris Johnson in his Churchill moment? And it's like, yeah, no, he's not. Like Boris Johnson may be the dude dumb enough to get World War III started because he was one of the first ones to go to Kiev.
That does sound like a Churchill moment.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly. He was one of the first dudes to go to Kiev. He has been flexing the fact that the UK acts differently than the European counterparts to be like more like gung ho about it.
Yep.
And yeah, he's just he's like said on multiple occasions that we're in World War III. Like the Brits have, remember, all these boomer Brits who think that they could have been on Dunkirk getting just like low key sniped by Nazis and like fucking, Stukas. They wish that could have been them, and they're gonna drag the rest of Europe into this whole stupid fucking conflict because Boris Johnson wants Christopher Nolan to make a movie about him 60 years from now.
He also has to distract from Partygate.
Mm-hmm. Also true, which has not affected him very much at all.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. But
anyway,
yeah. So that's more or less at this point just ended up on an open discussion about sending weapons into a war zone and how that's not good. And I don't think that we can answer any of the bigger questions of the moral questions about war and NATO and Europe and all this. But what we can offer you is a lovely time on May 14th where we, Corner Späti, plus Kieran, will be...
Wait, plus Kieran?
Plus Kieran, yes. So
Kieran is almost
Kieran-
like he ascends to another level on Eurovision.
Yeah,
so
that's
he
true.
does
Yeah.
need some special billing.
So we, yes, you mentioned the
Kieran and the Corner Spätis.
exactly. You mentioned the ding ding ding, the word of the evening, and that is Eurovision. And so on May 14th, we will be having an event at the This place is called, and I wish it wasn't, the Laughing Lizard Playhouse.
The Laughing Lizard, I have some of those NFTs.
Yeah, hell yeah. And so May 14th will be starting at 8 o'clock. It is at Ziegelstrasse 28, which is in Mitte, and we have all the info on Twitter. And Kieran made a very cute Eurovision poster. We'll be posting all the details in the description. And we hope that you can come. There will be admission. I'm not entirely sure how much it is. We'll definitely let you know the closer that it comes. But we'll be having commentary, drinks, and watching our Kieran's favorite evening of the year.
It'll be a fun time. I love Eurovision now through
Yeah,
Kieran,
rightfully so.
you can love it too if you show up. It's a great time. Yeah, we haven't said admission, but come on, it'll be Berlin.
I think it'll probably be like €5 or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm assuming
there.
that then we'll have something set up for Patreons too. So if you're a Patreon and you want to come, please hit us up. We will figure something out for you. If not, and on that note, we will see you guys all next week for the bonus episode, or next week for the main episode, where I think we're going to talk about Transnistria.
Woo!
Yay!
Woo!
Another fun time.
So take care, and bye-bye.
Peace.